So ladies and gentlemen, I've decided to bite the bullet and put new rotors, cross-drilled rotors on my Kia Stinger. And I was getting that pulsation, similar to what you get with warped rotors. They're not warped, but the brake pads brake pad deposits on the rotors cause them to feel as though they're warped. But anyway, I always wanted to swap out the rotors. I have the utmost confidence in the Brembo brakes on this car, but I wondered about the rotors. So dropped a few dollars, and that's what I'm doing today. I actually got half the job done, and I decided, well, why don't I record this, so at least parts of it, so folks can see what it takes. It's really a simple job. And so anyway, let me show you the ones that I've done, and then I'll pick up on the driver's side rear where I've already started, and I'll do that rear, and then I'll do the front on the driver's side. But let me show you what I've already done. Okay, so here's the front passenger side. They look pretty good. Now the ones that I got are the two-piece, where you can see that the hub is actually separate from the rotor itself. Better ventilation, lighter, a lot lighter in weight. So I'm hoping that'll enhance my performance a little bit. And as I go back here to the rear, again, they really look good. They really look good. The only problem or question I have about the rear is that with the two-piece design, and hopefully you'll be able to see this, I'm going to move in a little closer. As you look in there, you can actually see the brake shoes for the parking brake. On this two-piece design, they're exposed. That means they're exposed to the weather. On the OME rotors, you know, since the hub and the rotor are one piece, that is not exposed. So I don't drive this car intentionally in bad weather, to snow and salt, but you know, water is going to get in there, and also if I get caught in the snow, then yeah, and plus you're dealing with the road salt and everything else. I'll just have to make sure that those stay clean. So that's what it looks like when it's done. And why don't we slide on over to the driver's side rear, and I'll pick up where I left off. Okay, so here I am on the driver's side rear. And as you can see, I also went with the Eibach sway bars and lowering springs. So the springs I put on a while ago. I just put the sway bars on a couple of weeks ago. I like the way the car sits, and with these mods, the handling has improved dramatically, especially in the rear, where I used to get that, would get a little squirrely and loose when you in high-speed cornering, when you would hit a separation in the road or a dip in the road. It get a little loose in the rear, but not anymore, not with these mods. So anyway, back to the brakes. So I'm about to pull this rear rotor off. As you can see, I removed the caliper. Now this car has 17,000 miles on it, and as you can see, the pads are still good, really good on the rear. So even though I have a new set, I'm not going to swap them out. I'm going to keep those on. And very easy to remove this. It was just basically two bolts in the back. You can see where they go. One goes here, one goes there. Here's the bolt, 17 millimeter, pops it right out. And so anyway, I can't hold the camera and work at the same time, and I don't have a tripod, so I'll be back in a sec. So it should be loose enough now for me to go ahead and take it off. Let's see if I can do this with one hand. Probably not. But as you can see, it's loose now. There, it's coming off. And I just popped it right off. And there we go. And this is what I was talking about before. As you can see, you have your parking brake shoes on the inside of that hub. This hub here is a one-piece design, which covers that assembly completely. Okay. and I'll show you the new rotor, at least the two-piece design and what that looks like. You can get the if you want to get new slotted or cross-drilled rotors, you can get the one similar to this, where this hub does cover the assembly, parking brake assembly completely. But again, I wanted to reduce some weight and also like the look of it. But anyway, let me show you the new one. So here's the new rear. And again, this is the driver's side, left, rear rotor. New rotor, two-piece design, as you can see, where it's open in the middle here, between the hub and the rotor. And on the inside, you'll see where it has this added piece for the parking brake shoe. All right. And I'll go ahead and slide this on and show you what it looks like. So I just went ahead and popped that on, and you'll see the directional thing, so you know you have it on the right side. It's a little arrow pointing in line with the rotation of the wheel. You don't want to get these on the wrong side. So again, so if you look inside here, you'll see the brake shoes, and again, this is for the parking brake. And it's exposed, so you just with these rotors, you're just going to have to make sure that you maintain those and make sure that everything is in working order, cleaned out, blow it out every once in a while. Again, you don't want that to get fouled up. So I'm going to pull this off real quick, and I'm going to clean up my hub a little bit around here. I got a little Dremel, my trusty old Dremel, a little wire brush on it, and I'm going to clean that up, get rid of some of that rust there. So here I am with the Dremel. I'm just going to go ahead and show you what I mean. I'm only going to show you a little bit of it for the sake of time. Who wants to watch this boring stuff? But anyway, and right inside here, just do a little section here so you can see what that looks like once that's cleaned up. I love this Dremel, man. So many great uses for this Dremel. I mean, I know it eventually will stick the longer these are on here, these new ones are on here, but I don't want to help it any, with the rust and so on. Get it all nice and shiny again. You can see the difference there compared to the rusty side. So I'm going to clean the rest of this up and I'll be back. Okay, so I think it's good enough for government work, especially since I'm not getting paid to do this job. But anyway, as you can see, it's a big difference. Got most of that rust off of there. So, like I said, I don't want to help the rust once I put this new rotor on. But that's it. Okay, let me put the rotor on and I'll be back. Okay, so the rotor, I just slid it on, and I'm gonna put the two screws back in. But some people don't put these screws in because they say that the wheel, once you bolt the wheel on, that it'll hold the rotor in place. Maybe so, but I don't think that car manufacturers are just going to put these on here just because they have nothing else to do. Remember, they're going to save money at every cost. So if they had a reason to put these on here, you know what? I'm putting them back on. It's just that simple. Not only that, again, it keeps it snug, stops it from moving when you do mount the wheel, and just don't want any unforeseen problems. Again, they put them on there for a reason. All right, I'll be right back. All right, so the rotor's back on, the caliper is back on, but I gotta tighten up the bolts in the back, but I just wanna show you the bolts in the back. So right here, that's a 17 millimeter bolt. There's one down below. And to the back end, also you have to, once that caliper has been off for a while, you gotta separate the pads because they come together a little bit, but you'll have to separate the pads to get them to fit back on the rotor. Actually what I used was the wooden handle to my trusty old mallet. This is my multi-purpose tool. But I'd stick that in there, and as you can see, it's oblong, so I'd slide that in there, and then I just turn it this way, and it spreads the pads apart. I wouldn't advise using anything that could damage the pads, but this wood, it's very soft. So anyway, that's what I did there. Let me go ahead and tighten up the bolts. And then I'll throw this wheel back on, and then I'll move up to the front. Hey, by the way, I thought I'd mention something else to you. When you have this wheel off, it's also a good time to get in there and clean out. I don't know, maybe I'm a little anal than most, but it's a good time to get in there and clean out the inner wheel. Looks pretty good, you know, because when I wash the car, I'm always trying to stick my hand in there with my brushes and everything to get that inner hook clean, because it makes a big difference when the car is actually clean. So anyway, try that. I just put actually some new rubber all the way around. So this is all season rubber. I'll tell you, those Pilot Sports were really good, but I only got 17,000 miles out of the rear. The front was still pretty good, fairly decent, but the rear, man, that rubber's so soft. So anyway, I went ahead and just put all seasons on here, because these wheels, the stock wheels, are going to be my winter wheels. And in the fall, I'm going to get some nice black wheels with, and I'll probably go back to the, in next summer, I'll get some black wheels, maybe some 5-spoke black wheels. And I'll go back to another full set of maybe the Pilot Sports, I don't know, Michelin. Maybe I'll try another summer high performance tire, see how that goes. But I tell you, those Michelin Pilot Sports were the stickiest wheels tires I've ever had. Anyway, thought I'd show you that too. Clean that inside wheel. Okay, so I have that front wheel off. Brembo, good brakes. All right, so just looking at the rotor. You can see a little bit of the deposits on there, just enough. See that? Just enough to cause that pulsation. And as I said before, look how dirty that wheel's on the inside. Also, when they mounted these tires, they left some remnants of the weights, the tape from the prior weights. I'm going to clean that off also. But like I said, clean that wheel. All right, so yeah, it's also a good time to spruce up the caliper there too. You know, just to make it. They didn't paint these things red for no reason. They want people to notice them. See how good they look. But they do look good behind that wheel, so let's clean them up a little bit. Clean them up. All right, so anyway, get back to that in a little bit. Now I'm going to get behind there, and I'm going to grab those bolts. Hopefully you can see that there. Again, 2 bolts, 17 millimeter, one up top, one down below. And I'm going to get to those and pull that caliper off. And then I'll work this rotor off, 2 screws, and a little bit of my trusty mallet. There she is. And I'll get that off and put the new one on. It's pretty much the same as the rear, except you don't have that parking brake assembly. Not that that's a problem or anything, but and as you can see also, there's that front sway bar. And I don't have them in the firm settings yet. You know, that's probably just for track, but if I do take this to the track, I'll probably end up leaving the front one the same, but that rear one I'll put it into the other position to stiffen up that rear a little bit. And again, I changed out my springs, so those are Ebach lowering springs. Now there's another video I did of talking about how difficult it was to change these springs out. I wouldn't wish that on anyone. Anyway, let me get to it. Just something else was anytime you do work on your car and you end up pulling parts off, just remember it's a good time to check everything, you know, other work that's been done. Double check the torque on some bolts if you had loosened them at one time for anything. For instance, like the work I did on a strut, replacing that spring. So go back and check the torque on them and make sure nothing's come loose. It's always a good time to do that. Should always be staying on top of mods that you make to your car. So again, anyway, looking at so those brake pads are still good. A lot of life left on those. I'm not going to replace them just yet. Still a lot of life. Again, 17,000 miles on those brake pads. Anyway, let's get to work on this, pulling this rotor off. All right, this one took a couple of good whacks to get it off. And as you can see, now you can really see the deposits that were on there, causing the pulsation from the, deposits from the pads. And the rust that's on there, again, this car is only 1 year and 4 months old. But that's what happens. So let me clean that up, and then I'll go ahead and install the new front rotor, 2-piece. Okay, so the wheel is pretty much back on. Just gotta torque the lugs and put the cap back on, get it off the jacks, and then I'll take it out and, well, maybe not here. Find me a nice deserted road and break these boys in the proper way. We'll see what happens. All right, guys, that's pretty much it for this video. I'll let you guys know how they feel, how they work, how they stop. And I like the way they look. I just hope they perform the same way. I have no doubt that they will. Ciao.